Morning, great morning. Welcome to Breakfast with the Brookses. We are live. We're going to go ahead and turn our video on in a moment. But before we do, trying to get ourselves together, I want to ask you a quick question, guys. Quick question. Where are you chiming in from? And what is your government name? Put that in the chat. We can ready to go live on Instagram as well. And here's what I'd like you to do. If you guys are on Instagram at all, can you go onto our Instagram page? It's Breakfast with the Brookses on Instagram. And that way you guys can engage that community because we don't have the ability to engage them like we'd like to and do everything else that we got happening. So if you're jumping in the room and you're here, do me a favor, do me a huge favor, and find out, let us know who's here. Good morning, sweetheart. How are you?
I'm good. Good morning, guys. Hope you guys had a great week. Hope everybody had a great week. It is overcast here in Hampton Roads, so it's a little gloomy outside.
I love that weather report, baby. You sound like a real weather person. I love it. I love it. I love it. Guys, we're going to be talking about our temperaments, our personalities this morning. How is it that Sheri and I are able to coexist without killing each other? Considering that we are very different human beings. I mean, as different can get, but somehow we've been able to manage, and it's not really somehow, Sheri. We've actually done a lot of work over the last years, and I think that it's probably in these last maybe 5 years that we've realized how important that was. You know what I mean? And how it's made the difference, and now people get to see, even us, we get to see the results of that.
Right, and it's definitely been work, but we've been committed to. We were in a community that focused on doing the work, and that helped us to build a firm foundation for our relationship. It takes more than just love
Yep.
to have a successful relationship, so it takes some work and having an understanding of who you are. And
Hundred
that's what we're going to
percent.
talk about today.
100%.
And so, want to say welcome, 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 happy New Year, Nikkei. Great to we'll see you soon.
In just a second. Right,
You'll
right.
see us soon.
Here we go.
Happy New Year. Welcome, Tammy. Great to see you guys. Hope
Love
you
it.
guys had a wonderful holiday season and glad to see you. Happy New Year's 2020.
2020. So we're live on Instagram. Good to see everybody on Instagram. Y'all do us a favor if you can. Share this out on Instagram. Go to the arrow at the bottom and share this out if you can. We're going to talk a lot about some things relative to our personalities. This is the first Saturday of the new year, babe.
Yes.
And I think that unfortunately, a lot of people are not going to actually achieve the goals that they're looking to achieve for a bunch of reasons. And historically and statistically, we know that to be true. What we want to deal with today is how can you actually achieve it?
Right.
How can you actually get to where you need to go? So for those of you guys who are just jumping on, welcome to Breakfast with the Brookses. Sangra Smiles. I'm not sure if I even pronounced that right. Do me a favor, put your government name in the chat on Instagram. And welcome to the show. Welcome, welcome, welcome.
Welcome, Tiff. Welcome, Teresa. Welcome, Karen.
Tammy Ames from Maryland.
Maryland.
Good to see you, sis. Good to see you.
LaRonda.
Good morning.
Happy 2020.
I love it.
Oh,
I'm sorry, it's too much light?
Yeah,
Okay. Trying to get our light situation. See, y'all, you know what's funny? Because she's light skinned and I'm dark skinned, sometimes the contrast gets a little crazy. And I'll be trying to get the light right on me, but it'd be too bright for her. So we trying to work it out, y'all. We can't
welcome,
see
welcome
you all. That's interesting. Nikkei said they can't see us. I'm on our channel. Can we put this up here?
Yeah, I'm on our channel on my phone.
I can see us. So if you guys can see us and hear us, give us a thumbs up. What's going on, Mike Cullen? Good to see you, brother. Sorry I couldn't jump on you live last night. We was having a little bit of a date night, and so it was a situation. We trying to reconnect. So good to have you guys. Faith Hawkins, good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning. So, babe, what I want to do is I want to talk a little bit about sort of personalities. And a lot of people don't understand that you are who you are.
Right.
Like you were born by DNA, the kind of personality you are. That wasn't something that you learned in school. It has nothing to do with your environment. It has everything to do with your DNA. God created you from a personality standpoint a certain way. And you're unique in that regard. Am I right? You're thinking.
Well, no, your personality, I mean, other things do help shape your personality, but your personality is formed at a very young age, and typically who you are at 8 is who you're going to be at 18 or 28 or
Yeah.
38.
Yeah.
And so once your personality is formed, that is typically who you are. That's your core. Your foundation has been built, and it's very hard when you've been a certain way. You've developed this personality. If you aren't aware of that certain things, because certain things we do that aren't our personality, they're just things that we like or things that we lean towards. But then there are some things that are innate. It is built in. It's built into your DNA. It's built into your makeup from a very young age, and those are things that help that create your personality.
Mm-hmm.
And as you get older, if you're not able to identify those things and recognize them and understand the strengths and the weaknesses of them, they can cause disruption in your relationship. They can cause disruption in your life because you don't understand who you are.
Absolutely.
As an individual. Because there are some things, just as people, we're able to change about ourselves, but there are some things that we just have to learn how to, what's the word I'm looking for? Adapt
temper.
Or temper. You have to learn how to temper them because they're a part of who you are. And you can't completely get rid of them per se, but you can learn to temper them.
So that's what and I appreciate you for bringing some clarity to that, because I really want people to understand that I think that too often we assume that because we are in relationship with people that we actually know them. And I think that that's an assumption, Sheri, that really catches most of us off guard and quite frankly becomes super damaging over time. I can't assume that I know you.
Right.
See, so right now, guys, let me give you an example. My wife is super analytical in her thinking. When she thinks long and deep. I am not that kind of a thinker. I think short and wide. I think about a lot of things quickly. She thinks about a few things often. That is her temperament. That is her personality. It's not what she does, it's who she is. So, for instance, when you see her eyes fixated on something, that's the turtle in her. She is analyzing your comments. She's looking at your comments. She's analyzing them. She's trying to figure out, what do you mean by that? Who is that? And I don't know if I remember them. They misspelled this, all while we're live, right? And that's how I'm literally.
Yes.
Am I right? Mm-hmm. But me, I'm like, bruh, let's focus on the people. Like, there are folks that are looking at us. I want them to look. But that's not how she functions. Now, here's what I've learned. It don't bother me. I don't get upset about it anymore. I don't try to fix it. It's just who she is. And so what I have learned to do is I've learned to compensate by just allowing her, A, to be who she is from my understanding of that, and B, just continue to be and show up as who I am.
Right. And I think that that's one thing that's key. When you know who you are, what your personality is, and you're able, when you get in a relationship, you're able to share that with the other person and they gain an understanding. You both are able to have a much deeper understanding of who each other are.
Right.
Often when we're in relationships, you know each other on a very surface level. And so when things happen, it's very hard to give way, to yield to that person's personality, because you're like, well, that's not how you were yesterday, but because you don't understand them at a deeper level
right.
of where that comes from. You don't understand, you just don't understand
their
whole, you don't understand them holistically.
Yeah, I love that.
You know them, the surface person, the outside,
right?
But you don't know them holistically. You don't understand them at a much deeper level.
So here's what I want to do, guys. Right here at the top of the program. Welcome, Instagram. Good to see you, George. Good to see you, nephew. CJ Stance. I think that's CJ. Good to see you, brother, on Instagram. For those of you guys who are on YouTube, do me a huge favor, guys. Before we get started, share this out. Send this link to somebody who's in a relationship trying to figure it out. We want to get to the place, and we're going to answer some specific questions and some things, baby. How do you first of all grow your relationship, and then how you sustain it? And I honestly believe that to the degree that you know yourself really, really well, you'll be able to do that on a high level.
Right. And also, for those of you who are joining us this morning who are not subscribed to our YouTube channel, I want to ask you to please subscribe and make sure you ring the bell. And for those of you that are new to the channel, just want to reintroduce ourselves. This is Glenn P. Brooks Jr. I'm Sheri Brooks Jr. We're authors, speakers,
but
and
you
coaches.
you a junior like I am?
Yes, I took your whole name.
Oh gosh. Oh gosh, she
We're
sounds.
authors, speakers, and relationship coaches, and we have a online relationship academy, which is the Marriages and Parenting Successfully Relationship Academy, which you'll hear us refer to as MAPS. If you'd like to learn more information about us and about the MAPS Relationship Academy, you can go to www.thecrcoach.com to get more information. But once again, welcome, welcome, welcome
Yep.
to our YouTube channel, and let's get into it.
Let's get into it. Do me a favor. What's going on, Joe? Good to see you guys on Instagram. We don't have the ability to put up the website like we do here on YouTube. Can you put in the chat for me, somebody, www.thecrcoach.com, thecrcoach.com. That's the way for you guys to be able to engage us and get in touch with us. We also have something that we want to introduce to you guys later, and you're going to be able to get that information on the website. So let's get started, babe. Years ago, and I mean years ago, probably 20 years ago, you and I became very familiar with the personalities or the temperaments of human beings.
Yes.
If you've taken any psychology course in college, not even if you're not a psychology major, you may have even found this out in high school. They used to have a psych class in high school when I was coming through, and we learned about sort of the four basic temperaments of human beings. And from a psychological standpoint, they would be called the choleric, the sanguine, the melancholy, and the phlegmatic. Now, I'm not going to get into those because those are hard words to spell, and we're going to make it really, really easy. If you've ever taken the DISC assessment, you will be familiar with the D, the I, the S, and the C. Put it in the chat. Put a 1 in the chat if you've ever taken the DISC assessment. Put a 2 in the chat if you've never taken it. If you've never taken the DISC personality assessment, put a 2 in the chat. But if you have taken the DISC personality assessment before, either with us or with some other community, put a 1 in the chat. That way we kind of get an idea of who we're talking to and what your knowledge levels are. So the D on the DISC assessment stands for decisive, right? Put that in the chat. The D is for decisive, right? The D is for decisive. Put that in the chat. The D, when it comes to a DISC assessment, stands for decisive. Somebody put that in the chat. Put that in the chat. The D is for decisive. The I, when it comes to the DISC assessment, stands for interactive. Somebody put that in the chat. Interactive. The I on the DISC assessment stands for interactive. The S, when on the DISC assessment, stands for stability. Put that in the chat. It stands for stability. I want y'all to put that in chat. Instagram, YouTube, put that in the chat. The C, and we're going to go back to this in a moment, but I just want to give you guys sort of an understanding, an overview on how the DISC assessment works. And then we're going to talk about the 4 animals and how we, when you take this DISC assessment with us, we will overlay it with the 4 animals, and that helps you to be able to remember it, not only because the animals are simple to remember, but the characteristics of those animals makes all the sense in the world. So the D, we said on the DISC assessment, stands for decisive. The I is for interactive. The S is for stability, right? And then the C stands for cautious. The C stands for cautious on the DISC assessment. Now, what I want to do really quickly, and we're going to break this down. I appreciate that, Sheila, for putting that in the chat. Thank you, Imani, for putting that in the chat. Good to see you, Joe McDaniel. What's up, Pastor? Good to see you, my friend. I appreciate you. He's a DI. I get it. We're going to talk about that in a second. It's going to make sense, guys. When it comes to the 4 animals, Sheri, the D equals a lion. Put that in the chat. The D equals lion. Why you moaning over there, baby? We get ready to get in. We get ready to go in. The D
and
equates.
You got to know the lion when you meet the lion.
Oh my gosh, do you know the lion? The D stands for lion, right? The I want you to put equals flamingo.
That's interactive. Interactive person.
The interactive person.
The flamingo.
Is a flamingo.
Fluttery. Colorful.
Oh Lord Jesus, we get ready to get in.
All of that.
She said all that. The S equals the chameleon. The S equals a chameleon. Put it in the chat. I want y'all to engage with us for a second. Engage with us for a second. Put this in chat. It's going to make sense in a minute. Thanks, Teresa. Appreciate that. Karen, thanks for engaging us. We said that the D equals a lion. We said that the I equals a flamingo. Now, fellas, I want y'all to understand it's okay to embrace your inner pink. It's okay. We, we ain't gonna drop you off. We're gonna explain in a minute. The S stands for or is equated to the chameleon. What's up, Coach Bruce Kennedy? Good to see you on Instagram, brother. The S is for chameleon, and then the C equates to a turtle. I want y'all to put that down. The C equals or equates to a turtle. So the D is a lion, the I is a flamingo, the S is a chameleon, and the C is for turtle. Why have I talked about it in those terms? Because as we move through today and probably next week, we're gonna kind of break these things down and we'll go from there. I got a question for all of you guys. When you hear the word lion, from a characteristic standpoint, what do you think of when you think of a lion? Put it in the chat. When you think of a lion from a characteristic standpoint, give me one characteristic of a lion that comes readily to your mind, babe.
Strong.
Strong. Okay. Okay. I would say leader. If I were to answer that question, I would say leader. What do you guys think on YouTube? What do you guys think when you hear the word lion? What do you think? What comes to your mind? Power. I love that, George. I love that. George says power. Absolutely. So we said leader. Power. Somebody said in charge. You said strong. No pink here, bro. Look, hey Joe. Yes, you got you got plenty of pink. I ain't messing with Joe. Joe already know what it is. Joe McDaniel. He's one of our Maps Masterclass graduates, and he's very pink in some regards. So he's also very lion. So we're going to talk about that in a second.
You got
majestic. Forceful, aggressive. I like that, Nikkei. I love that. I love that. I love that. Okay. I like that. Sidna said majestic. I like that. Powerful. Thanks, Angela. Aggressive. Thanks, Mike. Like that. Like that. Head/lead. I love that, Joe. Daryl Allen said a protector, leader, strength.
And ferocious, I think.
Ferocious. I think that's what that was. Yeah. All of those are true. All of those are true, guys. Let's move really quickly to the flamingo. Now, I know a flamingo may not be something that most people have studied. It's certainly not one of those animals that, unless you go to the zoo, we kind of have a direct association with. But from what you know about a flamingo, how would you characterize a flamingo if you were describing a flamingo to someone else? What would you say about a flamingo? Put that in the chat. Kingly. Ooh, I like that. Kingly. That's for the lion.
That was still for the lion.
Tammy Ames said brave for the lion. I love it. Yeah. Guys, we're on the flamingo, and this is the eye.
How would you describe a flamingo? Karen, where you at? Chime in.
All my flamingos, I need y'all to represent. How would you describe a flamingo? How would you describe a flamingo?
Right, and remember the flamingo is the interactive person. It's a person that's interactive. So as you're thinking about a flamingo, think about the interactive characteristics of a flamingo.
Yep.
So I would say fun.
Showy. Ooh, that's a good one, Nikkei. Showy, outgoing. Love it, Karen. Right. Anybody else? When you think about a flamingo in the natural, actual flamingo, what are some characteristics about a flamingo?
I love that. Confident of its beauty. Yes, ooh. Yes, very confident.
I like very that. Confident of its beauty.
Graceful.
Yeah.
Light and fluffy.
Light.
Elegant bird of flight.
George said social. Right. George, let me tell you something, brother. Flesh and blood ain't revealed that one to you. Flamingos are highly, highly sociable.
Right. We got flamboyant.
Flamboyant. Great way to describe a flamingo.
Talkative. Communicator.
100%.
Pink and skinny.
Pink and skinny. Listen. They are pink and they are skinty.
Their legs are skinny.
Their legs are skinty.
Skinty.
So let's go to really quickly before.
That's loud and all over the place.
Loud and all over the place. Yes. If you've ever seen a flock of flamingos move together, we're going to talk about that in a second, and we're going to take our time and break this down because this has everything to do with your personality. Let me just submit this on the front end before we go any further. Everyone has a little bit of each one of these in them.
Right.
So let me just start right there. Now, you will have two of these that are their primary, and more than likely you'll have two that are secondary. We call them your super animals and then your secret super animals. So every one of you guys have a little bit of these animals in you, a little bit of this personality in you. So don't fear, don't get all, I ain't this. No. You got a little bit in you.
Right.
So if we keep going really quickly, Imani said, chatty, chatty, Kathy. All day long, Imani. Stop talking about me. That's not nice. 2020, we're not talking about people, Imani. Right. So listen, and let's keep going. So we had the lion, we had the flamingo.
So now the chameleon.
The chameleon. What do you know about a chameleon?
Right. Remember, chameleon is stabilizing. The stabilizing, or what's the word you use? You didn't use stabilizing.
Yeah, I use stability.
Stability. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So when you look at a chameleon, what do you see? What are the characteristics that you see in a chameleon? I would say adaptive.
Yeah. Ooh. Yeah. 100%. 100% adaptive. Anybody else? Really quickly, when you think of a chameleon in the natural, now I know unless you live in Arizona somewhere or somewhere where it's hot and or maybe you know,
in the case of covert,
you may not have all the most interactions with chameleons in the world, but for what you know about a chameleon, what do you? Somebody said stealth.
Yes, we got covert. We got
that's good.
Stealth.
That's good.
Like
adjustable.
Yes.
Adjustable. I love it. Adaptable. George, you dead on it. Adaptable. Adaptable.
We got steady.
Yep. Anything else, guys? Real quick, and we're gonna move on. Anything else? Real quick, we're gonna move on. Okay. Awesome. I love it. We're gonna go to turtle. I mean, when you think of a turtle, what comes to your mind? When you think of a turtle, characteristically of a turtle, what comes to your mind? Let's talk about that. Drop it in the chat for us real quick. And I appreciate y'all's interaction and engagement. This is great. Can change contact. He can flow with the tide. Daryl Allen said that. He's talking about the chameleon. 100%. 100%. But we're talking about the turtle right now, guys. Give us some info. Give us some there, but not. We're sweet and steady. I ain't messing with you, Amani. I know what you talk about. We're sweet and steady. Ooh, she's talking about the turtle. She's talking about the turtle.
Yeah, methodical.
George Hawkins, that's not nice.
Get on my nerves.
George Hawkins and
nice.
George, be nice. This is 2020. We're not.
Hurt my feelings.
We're not being mean today. What's going on, Javari? Congratulations on your weight gain loss thing challenge. You're doing good. Yeah, she was doing a challenge. Weight loss.
Thank you. You said weight gain.
Yeah, I'm sorry, weight loss. Y'all see how the turtle just kind of corrected me? Because I was flamingo. I done went all over the place. Congratulations. So real quick, we're asking you guys about the turtle. Characteristically, somebody said, ooh, Marsha said methodical. 100%. A thinker. Thanks, Joe. Joe said a thinker. Love it. Anybody else? Slow to make decisions. 100%, LaRonda. Brilliant. Yes. I better say yes. Because that's her number one animal. So we're going to talk about that second. So guys, we wanted to give you guys just sort of an overview of these four animals because this is going to be critical when it comes to this DISC assessment. First of all, if you are on the line, if you've taken a DISC assessment before, put a 1 in the chat. If you've never taken the DISC assessment before, and more particularly, I know I did. Okay. I'm going back on purpose. Okay. Thank you very much. My lion is in charge now. Thank you. So at this particular point, y'all see how I did that? I'm going to help y'all in a minute. I want you to put a 2 in the chat. Let me tell you why I'm asking you again. First of all, we got some new people on that weren't on at the beginning. Secondly, and I'm doing this on purpose, I'm teaching y'all how to communicate with the other animal in mind because you know your animal so well. Y'all see this? This is how we've been winning for 20. Pointing at me? Oh, me? I was just moving my hands. I wasn't doing no pointing. Was I pointing at? Oh, I was just kind of just. Listen.
Can I explain what you're doing?
Yes, please.
Okay, so for any of you that are in your feelings, because I've seen people that have comments before when he's corrected me or redirected me. The way that we are able to do that and it not be an issue, as he redirected me, but then he's explaining why he did what he did. Because of the way that I think, because of my temperament, I don't have a problem following instructions, but because of my temperament, I do need to know why. Because he knows that about me. He's not, this is why this is essential, especially if you have children. You need to know what their temperaments
are. Y'all need to listen.
Because certain children, I know that, we grew up in the age, many of us where our parents didn't explain nothing. Just do what I said, boy.
Right.
Just do it.
Shut up and sit down.
But your child didn't understand. They weren't able to process that, and you got a lot of resistance from them. Now they wouldn't have given you that resistance to your face, but know that they were going through inner turmoil.
Sure.
Because they didn't understand why you were asking them to do it or whatever.
100%.
More parents today have a better understanding of this, and for a lot of us, especially us, like as grandparents, you know, it was a little strange in the beginning seeing like our daughter, when she would give our grandkids instructions, she would explain why, well, I need you to do this because this, that, and the other. I'm like, why do you explain that to them? But I understand now because certain people, as I understand my temperament.
George said nitpicky. See, that's why they get over.
Be nice, George. Some people need an explanation. It doesn't mean that it's, you know, you're not still giving them instruction, but they need a little more to be able to move on to do what it is that you ask them to do.
Absolutely.
And because Glenn understands it about me, he can correct me, he can redirect me, but he knows without me having to say, well, why I need to do that or why you do that. He knows to just give a little explanation, and I'm like, oh, okay, that makes sense. And then
she can move on, and she's no longer stuck in her mind. And let me tell you, great to have you on, Sean. Good to see you, man. Long time, brother. Soul Factory. Yeah, back in the day. It's good to see you, Sean. Sean worked with us in Young Soldiers and some more stuff. Good to see you, bro.
Mike, I ain't gonna nip him. I ain't gonna bite him.
So listen, guys, we're gonna come on over to YouTube, Javari. That'll be great. Guys, again, Jalen, good to see you, man. Welcome to that's our new nephew. He gets it. So we appreciate you jumping on our Instagram. Y'all share this out to as many people as you can. Sheri, I want to kind of get into sort of the reason why this stuff is important. When it comes to growing with people, what most people don't understand is that it ain't about you. And I'm gonna help you guys out. Our culture and ego has taught us for years that it's about us. Here's how that conversation goes. But you understand what I'm saying. But I'm saying though, yeah, I hear you, but see, yeah, I get that. But let me tell you what I'm saying though. Whenever you're talking or engaging in any kind of dialogue with a person that continues to say those kinds of things, it's about them.
Right.
It's about them. And I understand it. There's no judgment. I get it. Because culturally, we've been taught that we matter more than other people. Now, I'm going to help you guys out. Hang with me. When I say we matter more than other people, it means I don't have an others first mindset.
Right.
When it comes to growing in a relationship, particularly a marriage or a parenting relationship, if you cannot adopt the others first mindset, it will cause you to not be able to grow with people. It doesn't mean that you don't matter, but you take very strongly and very passionately other people's thoughts, considerations, and particularly their points of view. It will allow you to slow down and engage them on a right now level as opposed to the level of where you're trying to go and you're not even there yet. Can you explain that differently?
Right. I think it's in relationships. I think the key is that you're in a relationship and that it's a matter of simply considering the other person. And we have grown up in a culture. We've grown up in this, it's me. It's all about me. And so if you don't focus on or allow yourself to hear the other person, to hear where they're coming from, you know, you're not going to be able to have a true communication because it's just about you, about your opinion. You know, you talk to those people that they already know what they're going to say while you're talking to them. So in the back of their mind, they've timed out. They already they're not hearing all of what you're saying.
Right.
Because they're not listening to you because they just want to get their point across.
Yeah, absolutely. And whenever that happens, guys, oftentimes the relationship itself will lose. What's going on, huh? Good to see you, brother. It's not about you. So I want to start there because when you can understand that from a philosophical standpoint, guys, it causes you to move differently. So for example, I am a flamingo lion by temperament. Let me show you my chart. If you look at the red, if you look at the yellow and you look at the red, the yellow is my flamingo and the red is my lion. I know YouTube. It's okay. I'm showing it to Instagram right now. Did you see the turtle tell me that YouTube can't see? And then I had to explain to YouTube why you can't see because I'm showing it to Instagram right now. I'm getting ready to share it to y'all as well. So y'all not going to get left out. I want y'all to see This is going to be so much fun. I can't wait. This is going to be so much fun. And then, so for you two, listen, this is what my temperament looks like on a graph. Now, what most people do is they say, well, I'm a this and I'm a that based upon what they hear us explain. But my question to you is, if you've never taken this assessment, you don't truly know what you are. You just think you do.
Right.
Because here is what I am going to promise. Raise your hand if you've ever taken this assessment, assumed you were one thing, and found out something else was the case. Raise your hand. Say me. Put a me in the chat if that's you. If you've taken this assessment thinking, oh, I'm a lion. I'm straight lying. I'm 100% lying. And you took the thing and you realized you got lion in you, but you're more turtle than you're lion or flamingo or chameleon. If that was you, do me a favor, put a me in the chat. The reason why I say this, guys, is because until I took these kinds of tests and assessment, and we started this 20 years ago in different arenas, I just didn't know. And so now I know me well enough to know that I am 99% flamingo, but I'm 80% lion. And so I can switch from one to the other in a nanosecond when I understand the reason why I need to. However, what I also want you guys to understand is that I'm only 32% chameleon and 28% turtle. 32% chameleon and 28% turtle. And let me tell you what a challenge would be. I'm sorry, 39% turtle and 32% chameleon. Y'all hear how my turtle corrected me? Because I'm going to help you understand. Turtles are analytical. They don't move unless they have all the facts. And when you're dealing with a turtle, the specific percentage matters. So like you, Karen, who said that you always knew you were flamingo, I've always known that I was extroverted. The question is how much and why, and how much do my other animals inform that?
Right.
Does that make sense? Lions and flamingos are extroverts. Turtles and chameleons are introverts. I need y'all to understand that. However, it's the lion and the turtle that are actually cousins. One is an extrovert, the other is an introvert. Why are they cousins, Sheri?
I'm sorry.
Because they are results oriented, not relationship oriented. Right. Let me tell you why she got a brain freeze that quick. Turtles don't process quickly. By nature, they don't. They process accurately. They don't answer many times. Turtles, especially when you're 88%, and we're going to get into herds in a minute. When you're 88% turtle or your lead animal is a turtle, you generally do not respond fast. So when I went to her without giving her a telegraph of where I was going, she couldn't answer that right quickly. Am I mad? Nope. That's a turtle. That's my turtle. I understand that, and I make up. That's why I will always be there to catch her in that regard, or to show up for her, or to help speak on. It's not that I'm speaking up because she can't. It's because she doesn't have the answer right now, because she hadn't thought of it. I know what the answer is, and because of the lion in me, because of the flamingo in me, I can give it to you right now. Right. Does that make sense?
Yes, perfect sense. And so you want to share mine with
yes.
you now?
Yes.
Okay, so as Glenn's already shared, I'm primarily turtle. So I'm 88% turtle and 63% chameleon.
Ooh-wee.
So this is for you guys on YouTube. And then
Instagram. Y'all see that?
Now, the thing with mine is that I never knew that I had as much. Well, I knew I had lion in me. I always knew I had lion, but I didn't know I had as much flamingo in me. And I have 39% flamingo. And probably 10 years ago, my flamingo wasn't that high.
Right.
And so that's another thing. When you take these assessments, you need to take them periodically throughout your life, because you may take it at one point, depending on where you are in your life. It changes. The degree changes depending on, because as you grow as an individual, it's going to change. So like for me, I know my flamingo definitely increased probably in the last 6 years. I would say, well, maybe the last 10 years. But it definitely in the last 6 years, because I've become much more outgoing.
Right.
Because I've gotten over my fear of speaking in front of people. I've gotten, over some of my fears in that area. And so because of that, and I'm much more confident in who I am, my flamingo grew. But my primary, as Glenn said, has always been probably turtle and chameleon.
Yep.
It's flip flop back and forth between which was the highest, depending on where I was. But because of my being a turtle, primarily that's my super animal. Like Glenn said, I'm extremely analytical, extremely focused, very cautious when making decisions. Like he said, even when speaking, I think before I speak.
I typically don't.
So if you watch our videos, there'll often be times where I'll pause before I speak, before I say something, because I'm processing.
Yep.
I'm not the person that's just gonna talk. And even people that know me, I'm the person. I'm in the group of people. I don't say much. I don't talk a lot. But when I talk, what I say, I try to have something of substance.
And she normally always has something of substance.
So he always sees me and says I'm like E.F. Hutton. So it's like when Sheri speaks, everybody, okay, she's talking.
It's like, oh God, y'all need to be quiet. She's talking.
Because I don't talk. I'm not the talkative, chatty catty person. And so because I think about everything, I process it. When I do have something to say, I try to make it meaningful.
Yeah, and on top of that, and so that I'll help you guys understand, because turtles are so analytical, generally when they do say something, I would say that 85% of the time, 90% of the time, they're right. They're correct. Turtles tend to be more correct than they are incorrect. And the reason why is because they have analyzed what they're going to say. They've already done the research. So by the time they come out their mouth, my wife, my daughter, they kill me with this. Because I don't want to admit that they right. That's the lion in me. That's the flamingo in me. But because, and I'm going to answer your question, Joe. Joe had a question, and I think that it needs to be answered. If you guys have any questions based upon this, this is your chance to put it in the chat, and we'll do our best to engage. We're going to be on this for the next week or so, because I want you guys to understand that if you don't get this part right, your relationships won't be right. And it will constantly be a struggle for you to grow them, because you don't have a clear understanding fundamentally of who you are. So when I say that turtles are generally super accurate, it's because they've done the work. They've done the research. They're not guessing. They're not coming off the top of their dome. Let me give it to you this way. A turtle is not a freestyler. Flamingos are. Yeah. So when you think about Jay-Z, who can freestyle off the top of his dome and not have to necessarily write down his rhymes, it's because that's the flamingo in him. Now, I'm not going to say he's not turtle, because I don't know his personality, temperament. And y'all hear me say that? I don't know. I can assume. Right. And I've learned that generally gets me in trouble. So what I can tell you, that when you hear people flow like that off the top of their heads, that's the flamingo part of them. Does that make sense, guys? So I want you guys to understand that all of us have these four animals resident on the inside of us. By the way, if you've never taken this assessment, right, and you want to take this assessment, maybe you took the disc and it wasn't overlaid with the four animals, and you'd like to take that with us, do me a favor and say in the chat, I want to take the assessment.
Right, and we'll send you a link.
And we'll send you a link so that you can take it. Now, just so that you know, there is a cost to it. It's $47, one-time fee. It's normally $97, but we because you're on this live, because you're in our community, and quite frankly, because we're running a special for the next for a limited time. What I want you to understand is that this is something that once you take it, you get this 22-page document that goes into so much detail. It's ridiculous. And here's what's most important. It gives you a free opportunity to do a debrief with me so I can break this down for you. Because when you take the assessment, it's the DISC assessment. When you do the debrief, I overlay those four animals. So and then I can help make it make sense. This becomes a game changer if you're married. Both you and your wife should take it. Somebody asked, can teenagers take it? Yes. We normally give it to high school students all day long, sometimes middle school students, depending upon their ability to, and maybe you have to help them answer some of the questions, but it makes sense. At least it gives you a benchmark. And the reason why this is important, guys, is because it helps you to change how you approach people based on who you know yourself to be. Joe asked a question. He said something to the effect of, and I'm going to try and find it. But Joseph McDaniel.
Yes, if you're both a S and a C in the house, how do you?
No, that was LaRonda.
Oh, okay.
So that was before that. But Joe asked a question. He said, "What if you both? Oh, I know what it was. If the D and the I, which is quicker on their feet, the D or the I? They both are, but for two different reasons.
Right.
I need y'all to hear that. So Joe asked a question, something to the effect of, I can't find it in the chat at the moment, but something to the effect of,
are lions quick on their feet or
are lions quick on their feet or flamingos? Mm-hmm. The answer is they both are, but they both are for different reasons. Let me help you understand that. The lion is a results-oriented animal. Mm-hmm. He is not a relationship-oriented animal. When lions think, when they move, it's with the results in mind. That's why they can come across as cold, callous, and non-caring, George Hawkins. They get on my nerves. That's the lion in George that does that. He don't mean no harm, right? It's not. He's not trying to hurt your feelings. He just ain't interested in all the back and forth. Like, just get to the point already, right? That's the lion, and they come across like that, and that's why they don't sometimes have many friends. George Hawkins. So I'm on him. He know it. Look, that's my client. I can hit him right between the eyes like that, because here's what I know: he's gonna grow to be a better person as a result of it. So I ain't messing with him. I ain't scared of him. So this is what I want y'all to understand, guys. Listen. So to answer your question, Joe, they both are quick on their feet, but the flamingo is quick on their feet with relationships in mind. The flamingo is a people person.
Right, he's the first one, he running in the room to get the party started.
The party don't get started without the flamingo. They quick on their feet. If you want a flamingo to have if you want somebody to be able to answer questions off the fly, if you want to have a person that gets the party started, socially speaking, that's the person that is quick on their feet for that reason. So the answer is both. Anybody else got any other questions that they want to ask before we move on? What if you're both in the house, S and C, meaning turtle and chameleon, or chameleon and turtle? You're going to have to really understand that, and I know that LaRonda, and I'll just use LaRonda as an example, she's talking about probably her and her daughter. I want you to make sure that, LaRonda, just so that you know, let's get together. I want to make sure we get your daughter the assessment, because she needs to take it. She's in high school, and I know she's driving you bananas in Jesus' name. But here's what I want you to do. I want you to understand, because here's the challenge, LaRonda. I think you may be assuming that you know what her animal is based upon her behavior. But here's the thing that teenagers often do that throws us off. They change too quickly.
Yeah.
Because teenagers are evolving almost daily, oftentimes who they are temperamentally today isn't who they are temperamentally 3 months from now. And so that will jam you up, and you'll get to responding based on what you see, not what you know. Karen probably could chime in. We gave her daughter the assessment, and it changed the game on how she began to understand her daughter, because it was like, oh my God, now I understand why. I thought, this is her mother talking, that she was this, and this. Just because they're your kid don't mean you know them.
Right.
Stop with that, hocus pocus stuff. Let's get some information on the situation, and let's figure that out. Anybody else got any more questions before we move on? So true. Cool. Okay, so LaRonda said so cool. Joe said yes. Joe, you already know I know. With them 4 grown young adults you got. You get what I'm saying? Wait, that's the way cheaper than what I paid Tiffany Childs. She said, y'all better jump on that. Yeah, we wasn't running a special when Tiffany took it. So we're running a special now. Tiffany's like, wait a minute, hold up. Y'all getting a deal. So no, if you guys want to take the test, put I want to take the test in the chat. I want to take the assessment in the chat. Something to that effect. And look, do me a favor, guys. Invest in yourself this year. Stop with all the Cliff Notes, free game info, no disrespect. But the reason we're giving you this much free information is because clearly this is the tip of the iceberg. Right. It goes so much deeper. One of the things I love about this particular assessment, baby, it's going to teach you about how you should show up and communicate to people. Right. It's going to teach you the kind of job you should have and the one you shouldn't have. It's going to teach you your learning style. Some of you guys don't understand fundamentally how you learn, right, or how you prefer to teach. So I know for you, you have there's a teaching component of your job on your 9 to 5 that you do, but because of your animal, it helps you to get clear on how you should teach people.
Right, right. And so, I mean, it's been extremely beneficial for me just learning how to interact with people in different capacities. I always, before taking a disc assessment, I always felt I was not a people person at all. And like I said, over time, my levels have changed. But knowing that I am more of a people, that I have a much higher flamingo now than I did in the past, and my lion is more tempered than it was in the past. It helps me to better interact with people on my job, when I'm doing trainings, when I'm just mentoring somebody, or just even working with my coworkers. It helps me to interact with them better because I know me, and so I'm not. I'm able to identify
Mm-hmm.
when to pull my turtle back,
Mm-hmm.
when to pull, bring my when I need to pull on my flamingo. I know that because I know that it's there,
Mm-hmm.
I'm able to access that part of my personality when I need it. And I'm also able to pull back and temper the other ones when it's not appropriate for a particular situation.
I love it. I love it. Again, guys, if you're interested in taking this for you or your kid, make sure you put I want to take the assessment in the training somewhere down there so that we'll know and we'll get back to you. We'll tag you and inbox you or whatever we got to do. If you're on YouTube, do me a favor and inbox us or shoot us a note somewhere so that we can make sure that we're there. Same way with Instagram so that we can talk to you directly and quickly. Daryl Allen said, I'm 90% lion, 79% flamingo, and 60% turtle. This is good. Let me tell you what I love about what you just said, Daryl. You know exactly what you are.
Yep.
You're not guessing.
Right.
So clearly you've taken this assessment before, and that's great. What we want to do is we want to encourage people to truly get to know who you are. Stop guessing. Because when you guess, generally speaking, you open yourself up to being wrong. I tell people all the time, baby, the older I get, the less I assume. Mm-hmm. The older I get, the more I realize that assumptions get me in trouble.
Right.
And with my relationships, when you are having a challenge and growing them, oftentimes it's because you're assuming. So next week, we're going to get into some things, baby, as to how to apply this stuff that we're talking about. We gave you guys some overview today. We just wanted to show up and help break some of this stuff down. Again, we are offering this assessment at a discounted rate for a limited time. If you've never taken the assessment, I think it would serve as a great opportunity, a great tool, particularly here at the beginning of the year, for you to drill down specifically on who you are and why you show up the way you do, so that you can be a better individual for those that you're in relationship with.
Right, and I just want to address one question real quick before we get off. CJ Stansel asked, do you believe that a person can change according to the animal types? We're going to talk about that more next week. But when we go over these assessments, part of this is going to tell you the highs and the lows of each personality.
Yes.
Of each one. And so you'll realize that there are strengths and there are weaknesses to each one.
Yes.
And so you can, as you learn to temper your temperament, and this also goes to your comment, Joe, too. As you learn to temper it, once you know what the strengths are and what the weaknesses are, you're able to temper it and come to a middle ground on that temperament as needed.
Let me give you one quick example, and we're going to get out of here for today. So if you are on YouTube and you can see this, and I got it so that hopefully Instagram can see it at the same time, what Sheri is talking about is that I am 99% flamingo in my natural, but I'm 95% flamingo in my adaptive. And the thing I love about this particular assessment, when we overlay it with the 4 animals, what I'm going to help you do is break down why is that? Mm-hmm. Why am I 80% lion in my natural, but I am 25% lion in my adaptive? You see the difference in how much difference that is from one level to that's a natural. We're going to break down the natural versus the adaptive next week, and we're going to talk a little bit about why that is. But here's what's most important. I know. Mm-hmm. So to go to Joe's question, how is it that I can show up? I am only my chameleon, which is the detailed part of my personality. That's the part of my personality that shows up steady, calm, consistent, super detailed. You can tell that by nature, I only got 32% of that in me in my natural. But I got 10% of that in me in my adaptive. What that says to you is, because of my high flamingo, I am highly unorganized by nature. But here's the problem. Here's the challenge, Sheri. What I've learned to do is I've learned to compensate for that over the years and get the maximum. Listen to me clearly, guys. I can get 100% out of my 32%
when you need to.
when I need to. And so, therefore, because Sheri is 88% in that area, she often can make up the difference in me in that regard. But it's because we're so highly communicative. It's almost like, let me give you an example. In sports, guys, ladies who understand this analogy, in basketball, there are some people who can get their own shot. They don't need somebody to pass them the ball. They can get you off the dribble. They can shoot your lights out in the post. They can bang down in the post and get that shot off. They can shoot from the perimeter. They can get their shot. They're going to get you 30 points a night all day long. That's your natural. Your adaptive is who you are when the pressure is on. And what I've learned is I've learned how to switch gears and be able to lean on my teammates or lean on different things that help me to compensate for that. So then there are people in the game who can't get their shot off by themselves. They need people to feed them the ball, right? And so as a result of that, if your teammate doesn't understand that about you,
Right.
you'll have a non-productive night, not because you're not a great player, but because no one got you involved in the game. And that's what changes the game across the board. A lot of people, particularly my high lions and my high turtles, you make a practice of riding solo. Right. And it's part of the reason why you're losing. In your relationships, in your businesses, in your ministries, there's nobody that can help make you great. And as a result of that, you're having to do it by yourself, and no one's taught you how to cross over. Sheri has made me incredibly good at showing up at my 100%, at 100% of my 32%. That's why a lot of you guys, particularly if I'm your coach, you would think that I'm more chameleon than what I am in terms of being detailed. Anybody who I coach probably could say that. As much as I'm flamingo, you would not believe that I'm just 32% chameleon. It's because I've learned how to compensate for it.
Right. And the same for me. I've become more flamingo because of your influence in helping me to bring that part of me out. Even though that's still, I'm only 39%, but I'm able to pull on that. I'm pulling on that 39, 100% of that 39% now.
Yep.
Just being here in front of you guys. So I'm able to pull on that when I need to be able to do what I need to do to be able to help other people. And so I'm able to speak. I'm able to pour into the lives of other people because I'm able to be more interactive, more of a people person. Even though that's only 39% of me, when I do it, I give 100% of that 39%.
Makes sense, guys? I appreciate that, Sean. Sean said, wow, this is great, Glenn. My wife and Andrea is going to love this. Listen, if Andrea hasn't taken the test, Sean, definitely. And guys, let me say this. If you've not taken this assessment in the last year, you probably should retake it. Here's one of the things that I'm going to tell you, and we're talking more about this next week. You generally won't change in your temperament, but you will evolve. In other words, at my core, I will always be more flamingo than anything else. It's my DNA. But the question is it 99% or 70%?
Right.
And what made it change?
And the other thing you got to remember, everybody has you have all four.
Yeah.
You have all of them in you.
Yes.
And so as you learn and understand them, you'll know how to be able to switch, how to pull on the other one when you need it, because it's in you. So you're not, we haven't seen anybody that's 100% one thing and has nothing of the other.
That's never happened.
None of the other.
I've never seen that.
Everybody has, it could be 2%. You're going to have some of all of the other temperaments in you.
Right. And so the critical thing you just said, baby, is that when you know this and when you understand this, you can learn to switch when you need to. I don't know if you've ever met the person, I understand in the chat if you understand this. Like, you ever meet the person said, well, I was this way when you met me. Well, I don't know why you surprised. I don't know why you shocked. Or the person that says, I don't mean no harm, but that's just who I am. Deal with it. Or the person that says, you know what, I ain't changing for nobody. That's just who I am. It is what it is. If you understand what I'm saying, put I understand. You know people like that. You've met people like that. That's because they fundamentally don't understand who they are and that they have the ability to temper their animals. They just don't have the desire.
Right.
And that's very different.
Right. And oftentimes we'll approach situations like that trying to have a person change. It's not about changing who you are because this is your personality, but you can temper your personality.
We use those words on purpose.
When a person is not willing to temper their personality and they're focusing, like I said, there are negatives and positives to each personality type. And so if they're flowing in all of the negatives and they're not willing to temper that, to be more balanced, to gain some of the more positive attributes of that personality, then that's a problem.
Yeah, your relationship is going to be in trouble. It's going to be in trouble.
And so it's about tempering, not changing who you are at your core, but learning how to temper it.
Yep. So again, last thing, if this is you and you want to take this assessment, do me a favor for a limited time. We're going to be offering it. It's only $47. You'll get a chance to do a one-on-one debrief with me where I will overlay those 4 animals for you. Put I want in or something like that. I'll get back to you, send you a note, and let you know that send you the link to take the assessment. If you want to email me, fine. If you're following me on Facebook and you want to shoot me a DM, however you get the information to me, once I get it, I'll certainly be able to respond, guys. At the end of the day, Sheri and I are coming up on 21 years in a row in about 3 weeks. And I realized, babe, that y'all see her looked at the calendar just to check to see if I was right. That's the turtle in her. She don't know. I'm sitting here looking at the calendar that's over her shoulder. I know that today is the 4th. It's about 3 weeks, maybe 3.5 weeks, because you just went down to the days. See? But the fact of the matter is we've been together for 21 years. And it's getting better year after year after year, regardless as to what we go through.
Yes.
And I think it's because we both understand fundamentally who we are, how we show up, and we're willing to change or make the adjustment and temper who we are so that it can best fit our relationship, guys. Love y'all so much. I will say this. I want in, Daryl. I got you, bro. Daryl, I'll DM you.
There's a couple people we'll go back through.
Yeah, we're gonna go back through the chat.
And we'll send you guys, we'll DM you the link so that you can take the assessment, so you can sign, register for the assessment.
Yes, and also last thing, real quick before we roll, on Tuesday, January the 7th, and I appreciate you guys for hanging around. We're going to be starting a series in our MAPS Relationship Academy called Visioneering. It's how do you engineer the relationship that you want. Some of this information that we're talking about will inform that, but this training is going to teach you how to get what you see out of your mind concerning your relationship into your reality. Some of you guys have been chasing the proverbial carrot and never catching it relative to your relationship. You're dealing with the same issues you were 5 years ago, 10 years ago, 20 years ago, and they're not changing. The question is why? It's because you lack vision, not sight. And we're going to teach you how to build the kind of vision that allows you to pull off the things that you want in your relationship. And this will be in our MAPS Relationship Academy. If you're interested in becoming a part of that community, certainly so that you can get this training and all the other things that we do, we would love to have you sign up for a free assessment that you can find at crcoach.com. Again, www.thecrcoach.com. Click on free assessment or discovery session, and it will give you the opportunity to schedule some time, 15 minutes with me. We'll see if we're a match, and if we are, we bring in the group. It's a subscription-based group, and so it's a community of people who are growing their relationships intentionally. And we're none of us are perfect, but we all are winning.
Right.
Because we're putting in the work. At the end of the day, guys, here's what I know to be true. We all need some help. Y'all be good, and let's talk next week. Same bat time, same bat channel. Y'all be good.